This is the final episode of saving Drusilla. She's not perfect because I haven't installed the little vanity cover right here. It's a full-size 22-inch cut on there, and but you'll notice it's sitting up nice and high now, because in the first video it was sitting about 1 inch off the table, which made it unusable unless you like, just pushing into the turf with the front of the deck and having to muscle it over that. So I did what I did in that one video. This is the last one. I think it was number 2 or number 3 on saving Drusilla. I took the wheel off and cleaned and lubricated the wheel adjusters, and I've done that on each wheel now. As you can see, I've got the front up as high as it'll go, and the back as high as it'll go, and the front as high as it'll go. I did take it out and pull the cord on it, and it started on the second pull, but then ran real rough and would quit. And I tried to squirt some starter fluid in it to keep it going, just to see if it was fuel related, which I think it was, because it seemed to run a little better, but then would finally shut off. And so what I wanted to show you is what I had to do to get it running perfect. This is the tank and carburetor that was not performing, not functioning, and this often happens with these carburetor kits that you get for these pulsa jets. You get a thin rubbery diaphragm, and you get a paper thin gasket, and it often happens that that gasket is not enough to provide a decent seal. And so whenever you're working on these, try to save that gasket. If it's not torn or something like that, just try to peel it off. Be real careful and use the tip of a small screwdriver, the tip of the back of a pocket knife. You don't want to use the sharp edge, use the back of it like that, or use I've got a couple of these little butter knives, or kitchen knives you'd say, that are kind of sharp but not really, and so I use it for things like this. I also use this knife to tap down the emulsion tube in the carburetor. For example, here's a messed up one here, and underneath is that emulsion tube, and to get that out, and clean it, you get a very small screwdriver and put it in here, and then prise this up. Just leverage that up, and this will pop out pretty easily most of the time. But this carburetor, I'm not trying to put on anything, because it, you can see, is all filthy and messed up there. This is completely blocked off. I may have to replace that if I ever use this carburetor. But I don't give up on these carburetors. I try to get them going again, even if they're this filthy and messed up looking, because they're good products. Briggs makes good products. These pulsa jet carbs are great if you know what you're doing, and I know what I'm doing. So this will be cleaned up, and when I put my little emulsion tube back in here, I use the butt end of this knife, and I go tap, 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 and I can tell by the sound, because the sound changes when it's flush and it's in there where it's supposed to be. So that's just another little tip, but just make sure that you save the gasket. You can't save the diaphragm usually, because they're usually old and funky, but the gaskets you can use again, and in fact you need them. You need them to make this seal. And so what I've got on here is the paper thin gasket that came with the diaphragm kit, and the diaphragm is new on here. But I had to add the old gasket after cleaning it real good. So I've got 2 gaskets on there, and now I have a decent seal, and guess what? This mower runs perfect now. There's no stuttering, no stopping, no quitting. It just runs, vroom, it runs great. So what's left to do on this mower? Well, when I was pushing it out to the proving grounds in my backyard, I noticed that it kept wanting to turn to the right, turn to the right. And that's frustrating because you're constantly having to tilt the mower back and then move it this way to get it back to where you can mow a straight line. Well, if you will notice, that wheel is straight and that wheel is slightly to the right. It's, you know, in other words, it's going that way. And so I've got to straighten that. Let me show you a little better here. It's subtle, but it's going to the right. I don't know if you guys can see that. If I look at this side, see, that's, you got straight wheel up here and straight. So this wheel is going to have to come off, and it's not the wheel, it's the little axle, and I'm going to have to bend it. So let's see how I do that. Let me get set up here with my little tripod so you guys can see what I'm going to do. And I realize my voice doesn't carry real good on these videos, so if you can't hear me, that's okay. Just watch what I'm doing. So I'm going to straighten that axle. It's a 9/16 nut that needs to come off. Let me find that. I've taken these off to clean them, so this one should come off pretty easily. These are locking nuts. That's why they don't just come off while your wheels are rolling around. If your nuts do come off, then you've got the wrong kind on there. You need to get either a nylon nut or it's sort of an oblong. Instead of it being round, it's kind of an oblong, and that way it really grabs onto that and doesn't just spin off. Okay, so now take this wheel off. And if I'm looking straight down at it, you can look at it with me. You can see that it's kind of pointing this way. So I need to bend this thing this way. And I may be bending the frame a little. I may be bending this mechanism, but one way or the other, I'm going to try and get this thing straightened. And I need to find something that will slip over this. I'm going to take it and bend it back this way, and hopefully there's no spring tension, that this will still want to go in and be nice and snug like it's supposed to. So let me see what I can find over here. Alright, so here is a metal hollow tube, and I'm going to put it on here on the end, and using leverage I'm going to see if I can bend this thing this way. Okay, that was a little bit. Let me look at it. That is, I think that helped. I'm going to do a little bit more though. I'm going to overdo it, but it needs to come back. Okay. Sometimes these things get dumped off of the back of pickup trucks and what have you, so I'm going to slip this wheel on, see if it looks like it's a little straight. I think it's still a little bit that way. So let me go back again with my hollow metal here. This time I'm going to really put some oomph on it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. So let's take a look now. Oh man, that looks much better. So I don't think this is going to pull to the left like it was. So anyway, this is the final episode because this mower is running. It's running great. I think I got the wheel straightened out. I'm probably going to, since it runs so good, I'm going to go ahead and put a kill cable on here with a little brake and everything, and get the air filter on there, get the vanity cover on, and this mower is going to make some homeowner real happy. So if you enjoy my videos, please comment, please give me a thumbs up, and for heaven's sakes, if you want to figure out how to fix some of these difficult mowers, subscribe, because I do this all the time and love sharing what it takes to get these old mowers running. This was sold as a parts mower. In other words, locked up, no good, you know, $10 I paid for it, and now it's a running mower. It's great. Stay tuned. Thanks.